Hey man, what up man? Friday, January 31st in the NBA. I've got two best bets in this video. We got a 7-game NBA slate. I'm going to go through every single game by game. I'm either going to give you a lean or I'm going to give you one of my best bets. And guys, we've been smacking in the NBA. Let's get to the recap and then let's jump right into the slate. Another winning day, man. 3-1. Now, yesterday, if you just tailed the plays in the video, Evan Mobley gets it done sweat-free. If you were in VIP, you can tell. I even laddered it up over 3.5. Smacks it for us. Lauri Markkanen, you know that game was not close. A lot of the reasoning on why I liked that play was because I thought that game was going to be close. It was not close at all. So usually when Jazz games are not close, he doesn't even come close to sniffing it. And look what happened. He didn't even come close. I think he landed with 15 points. But in VIP, we also had Denny Advia under 17.5 points. Another sweat-free play. 3.3 units on the week, up over 11 units on the new year. We're almost done with January, so let's have another great day to end it off. 7-game NBA slate, let's go. First game on the board today, Clippers at the Hornets. Clippers pretty big favorites here, about 13, 14-point favorites right now is what I'm looking at. Hornets, hey man, they're without LaMelo, they're without Mark Williams. Like I said last game, it's going to be Miles Bridges and then maybe some role players that you think get some extra volume. As you can tell, they face the Nets, who are one of the worst teams in the NBA. They only put up 83 points and lose by 21. In this game, I lean the Clippers. Now, I do got to point out, Clippers on the road this year, they haven't been as good defensively. I pointed out a lot of other videos. I've been pointed out to you guys consistently because if they're on the road and it's a tough matchup, I usually am like leaning the other side just because the Clippers defense is what kind of carries that team. But now with Kawhi back, you know, it's another efficient scorer there. So I got to be leaning the Clippers. But in their last about 7 road games, they're 2-5. Their net defensive rating or their defensive rating is 15th in the NBA. So middle of the pack. If you look at them at home over their last 10, 15 home games, they're top of the NBA, man. So in this spot, still lean the Clippers. I just think the Hornets have no offense. I think they have no offense to where I definitely think the Clippers win this game. This should be a no-sweat win for the Clippers. If they somehow lose this game, they got problems. But I didn't look at many player props in this game just because I think this game could be an absolute blowout. And, you know, if you are liking someone, I can't even convince you to take Miles Bridges over points today. Now, it is at 22, 23.5 in that range. If it wasn't against the Clippers, I would say yeah. But in a spot here against the Clippers, I don't know if he's going to get up that 25 shots. Like, when he faces a bad team, he's probably going to get up 25 shots without Miles Bridges and without Brandon Miller without Mark Williams. But with those guys healthy, or without those guys, but going up against the Clippers here, I don't know if he's going to get up that type of volume. I usually like taking unders on the guys that are supposed to get high volume for the other team. I usually like taking their unders against the Clippers. In this spot, I can't recommend an under for him just because he still might get up 25 shots. Like, he might be just jacking up shots here. But I do lean the Clippers. I just don't like the spread of -13. I wish it was more around -10, just because I wish that was what it was at for me to want to take them. But -13 here, still lean them. Total at 211. Clippers defense isn't as good at home, but I mean, the Hornets literally just put up 83 points against one of the worst defenses in the NBA. So in this game, man, I can't even recommend a total. I would just stay away from it unless there's a player prop you're really liking, or maybe you just really love the Clippers today. But for me, nothing I'm vibing with. Second game, Dallas Mavericks at the Detroit Pistons. Now, I did look at this game a decent amount. This spread keeps on flip-flopping. 1 minute, the Pistons are favored by 1. The next minute, the Mavs are favored by 1. I've seen it flip 3 times just this morning. Total at 229. If it's in that 220 range, I would lean the over. If it goes up in the 230s, I lean the under. I think that's too high of a total for this game. But Pistons, they kind of went on a little run there. If you remember about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, they were kind of stringing off some wins. If you look at a lot of their wins that they had, and yes, they did beat the Hornets, they beat the Knicks, but a lot of their other wins there where they were kind of picking it up without Jaden Ivey. Jaden Ivey got hurt, and it's like they kind of strung off some wins. They were beating bad teams, man. They were beating bad teams like the Hawks, the Raptors, the Nets, the Trailblazers. They did beat the Timberwolves. They beat the Magic with no offense. Magic had nobody playing, like no good offensive players in that game. So, I mean, it's a toss-up here. It's honestly a coin flip. That's what the spread's telling you anyways. So in here, I have to lean the home team with Detroit at home. I just think they could get it done here. Player prop-wise, I think Kyrie could have a good one. Cade Cunningham, I am staying away from him today. His lines are very high. Don't really love Daniel Gafford today. I think I more like Jalen Duren. I think I like Jalen Duren a little bit more. His minutes are kind of, you always know with Jalen Duren, man. He can pick up 2 quick fouls and be out of that game within 2 minutes. So you got to really love the spot for Jalen Duren just because he can get in foul trouble so easily. So easily. I do lean him over on points, rebounds, stuff like that. Tobias Harris, can't trust him. Can't trust him. Asar Thompson right now, I feel like it's a little wishy-washy. For the Mavs here, really, the only guy I really like is Kyrie. Spencer Dinwiddie, too inconsistent for me. PJ Washington at 17.5 points. I lean the under. If you can get his under by the time this video comes out at 17.5, at like minus 110 to minus one, even minus 130, I would say take the under. I lean the under. But it does look like it could be even minus 140, minus 150. It goes up that high, that much juice. I don't want to play it. But I do have my first best bet in this game, man. And it is not a prop I typically take. I usually only take these type of props with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But it is Tim Hardaway today. Tim Hardaway Jr. over 2.5 first quarter points. You could rock his full game total, man, if you want. I think it's at 10.5 or 11.5. But I am laying a little bit of juice here, minus 130. But I like the spot for him, man. We all know Tim Hardaway Jr., 80 to 90% of his shots are coming from the three-point ball. Well, guess who he's going against? The Mavs. His old team here. He used to play for the Mavs. Well, Tim Hardaway, at home, has been getting up shots, and he has been hitting this in the first quarter. At home, without Jaden Ivey, he's hit this 7 of 8 games so far at home, scoring 6, 3, 4, 2, going under in that one, 7, 10, and 12, and then 3. So we all know he's going to get up his shots, man. He's got up 3+ shots in all of those games without Jaden Ivey at home in the first quarter. If he gets up 3 shots in the first quarter, at least 2 of those are going to be a 3-ball. I'm just hoping he hits one of them, man. That's what I'm hoping for here. If he's getting up 3 to 5 shots, I really like the spot for him to hit this prop here. If you're looking, last couple games hasn't been playing that well, but at home, he's been kind of playing well. So I like the spot for him here. Just over 2.5. He's going up against his old team. I think he gets up at least 3 shots in that first quarter. So Tim Hardaway, over 2.5 first quarter points. If you want to rock with this full game, rock with it. But I'm rocking that first quarter. That is the first bet of the day. Third game on the board, Chicago Bulls versus the Toronto Raptors. You know, Toronto's kind of playing well right now. Toronto's playing well, and it's really hard to want to go against them, or really hard to want to pick the Bulls when they're without Zach LaVine. Very, very hard. Now, I still think I would be leaning Toronto here with how they've been playing. Now, they've been beating up on some bad teams, man. The Wizards. Wizards are one of the worst defenses in the league. Only put up 106 points, but they did hold the Wizards to 82. Played against the Pelicans, one of the worst defenses in the NBA. 113 points they scored. They only allowed the Pelicans to score 104. They faced against the Hawks, 117 points. Hawks only scored 94. So their defense just over the last 3 games, those offenses, all 3, can be very up and down at times. But I would say, hey, not bad there. I lean the Raptors here, but man, I think this is a player prop game. I don't know if I just think it's a player prop game. Scotty Barnes at 23.5 points, lean the under. I know it's Scotty Barnes. He's a dog. But if you look at when he goes over, he's barely hitting this, man. He's not someone who gets up 8 threes a game, hitting 3-4 threes a game, to where he has some monster scoring games. If he has a monster scoring game, he's usually having to shoot very efficiently, or he's getting to the free throw line a lot. Could that happen today? Hell yeah. But today, 23.5 points. I do lean the under there for him. Not a very strong lean, but just I do lean it. Kobe White, can't trust him. Can't trust him. Josh Giddey, can't trust him, especially on the road. If Josh Giddey was at home, I would say, hey, look at Josh Giddey today. On the road, can't trust him. Ayu Dosunmu is the one Bulls player that I looked at and I was like, you know what? I kind of lean his over if you can get his points at 12.5, 13.5. That's about the one guy for the Bulls I lean the over on. For the Raptors is kind of where I like more sides here. RJ Barrett, I think, could have a very solid game. Points, assists, rebounds, stuff like that. At home, he's been playing pretty well. Points, I think he just has I'm kind of more like, hey, RJ Barrett's going to get up the volume. He gets up the volume a lot in a lot of games. Bulls, they allow a lot of the opposing teams to get up a lot of shots. They play at a pretty quick pace. I think RJ Barrett could hit his points prop here. He's kind of had some down games, but at home, I feel like he's due here. I feel it's more of a spot he is due. But honestly, my favorite Raptors player, if Emmanuel Quickley is out, because it looks like Emmanuel Quickley is questionable, but we all know with this guy, man, we never know what he's going to do. He's been injured in and out of that lineup for the Raptors since he's joined the Raptors. It's like since he's gotten to the Raptors where he can actually ball out and play free there, he's always hurt. So if Emmanuel Quickley sits, Jakob Poeltl is the guy I like today. Over 13.5 points, I would lay the juice for minus 130. I really like the spot here for Jakob Poeltl because if you're looking at him against Nikola Vucevic, now, you got to really dig into the games there because if you're just going and looking up Jakob Poeltl versus the Bulls, you're going to see he's kind of going under some of those games. Well, and some of those games didn't play the minutes. One of those games, the last game he just played, he only played like 22 minutes versus the Bulls and got hurt. He left that game. If you go look, he doesn't play the next 4 games after that game that he just played against the Bulls because he got hurt. So, in a spot here, I think you can kind of get his line at 13.5. I kind of like it, man. I like it 13.5, 14.5 if Emmanuel Quickly's out. Grady Dick is also even questionable, so even pay attention to him today. He might be out, so check it out. But for me, that's probably my favorite lean, but I kind of got to wait on some injury news there. And honestly, if it's at 13.5 or 14.5 at like minus 130, minus 140, I probably wouldn't take it. But if the line makes sense, hey, I like it there for him. That's probably my favorite lean in that game. But total spread, lean the Raptors. Total, I lean the under because the Raptors defense hasn't been bad, but both these teams play pretty quick. But hell, Raptors have been going under on games against other teams that play quick. So lean the under, lean the Raptors, but really more player props is what I'd be vibing with there. Fourth game on the board, Denver Nuggets versus the Philadelphia 76ers. Nuggets here. I lean the Nuggets here pretty big. Now that is also because I don't see them losing 4 straight games. If you go look at the Nuggets over the past couple years, they rarely, hardly ever lose 3 games in a row, let alone 4. So, especially if they're halfway healthy. So, Jokic here, I think Jokic has a game. I think Jamal Murray. Usually, those are the 2 guys I told you guys last time they played against the Knicks. Usually, Jokic or Jamal Murray off a loss for the Nuggets. Usually, are the guys that bounce back and have good games off a loss. Well, you saw it with Jamal Murray last game versus the Knicks. He dropped like 30 points. He went crazy. Jokic got in early foul trouble against the Knicks, so didn't play that much. But here, I do lean the Nuggets. Now, hey, Philly, 4-game winning streak here, beating up some good teams. Cavs, Bulls aren't a good team. Lakers, not a bad win, I would say. And then against the Kings, who Kings over the last 10, 15 games since they got the new head coach there and Doug Christie have been playing pretty well. So I don't love the spread here, minus 9.5, minus 10. I really don't. I wish the spread was more around minus 6 to minus 7, and I would love the Nuggets here. That line will not drop that far, though, before game time. So, hey, maybe I'm even leaning the 76ers there, but I really don't want to say that because I do think the Nuggets win this one pretty easily. But minus 10, I'm just not feeling confident to want to lay that number with it, but that's where I'm leaning. Some player props. Tyrese Maxey, the one 76ers player that I will even talk about here. Every other 76ers player besides like maybe Yabasuli, Kelly Oubre, those guys, if you're liking a man, rock with them. For me, I'm not messing with them. I don't like their unders, but I don't like their overs. Just not guys I like to back game over game. 76ers this year, not one of my favorite teams to really back this year. But Tyrese Maxey, if it goes down to 30.5, 29.5 points for Maxey, I lean his over, man. I lean his over. Now, this line this morning was at 31, 32.5. At 32.5, I was highly considering taking the under. And it's not because I think it's a tough matchup. It's just he has a lot of games recently. He's carrying the load for the 76ers. How much longer can he carry the load every game scoring 28, 30-plus points? If you look at his game lows over the last 10 games, his lowest scoring game is 28 points. So if you take the under, you're going to be sweating probably. But it's just like, can he continue to carry that team, every game? He's got to have a bad shooting night here soon, right? Now, he does have some games getting up 26 shots, 28 shots. So that's another reason can't take the under. Can't take the under at only about 30.5. If it was 32, 33.5, hey, I lean the under because I think the line's just a little too high then. But for me, Maxey Man's playing like a dog. He's been going crazy for them. Some Nuggets players here. I already pointed them out. I do think Jokic could have a bounce back here. I lean his over points, over rebounds, over assists, over PRA. It's just really do you know what to take with him? Since Aaron Gordon's came back in that lineup, Jokic's kind of doing more rebounds, more assists, getting more rebounds, more assists, not really dropping 30-plus points like he was at the beginning of the season. I know we all remember Jokic at the beginning of the season was going crazy, man, on the points. Dropping 50 points, 38 points, like every game. So he's kind of cooled off a little bit, more diamond it, more getting boards. I still lean Jokic over PRA just because what's he going to do? Drop 18 assists, 18 points, or 20 or 33 points and 6 assists. So lean just PRA over. Aaron Gordon always has good games versus the 76ers with or without Embiid. For the 76ers, Aaron Gordon is always playing really well in this spot, man. Against the 76ers. I lean him over. He just got inserted back into that starting lineup. I definitely lean Aaron Gordon over. It's a good matchup versus 76ers, at least off of past game logs. Another guy that I brought up or was going to bring up was Jamal Murray, just because off a loss, he seems to always have decent games for the Nuggets. Now, do you like Jokic or do you like Murray better? And then do you trust Aaron Gordon off the little bit? Kind of minutes inconsistent. Just got back in the starting lineup, though. I think his minutes stay around that 26 to 32-minute mark. I doubt he goes over really 32 minutes. Very, very highly doubtful. So I lean Gordon over, but kind of just a lot of props in that game that I don't mind. And I'm also debating between taking possibly even the Nuggets on the spread, to where I kind of stayed away in that game for right now. I did stay away from everything. I don't have an official play in that game just because there's a lot. I mean, there's a decent amount I'm liking in it. A lot of heavy leans there with Jokic and Aaron Gordon are probably my two favorite, and then throw in Jamal Murray there at number 3. But like them a decent amount, but kind of staying away from it. Let's move on to the next game, though. Third to last game, I do have a best bet in the Celtics Pelicans game. Right now, though, we're going to talk about the Bucks Spurs, and then we'll get to that second best bet in that Celtics Pelicans game. But Bucks Spurs here, I went back and forth on it if I liked the Bucks more on the spread here, or if I liked the Spurs here on the spread. Spurs were like +3, +3.5 last night, early this morning. Now it's about +2.5 for the Spurs as a home underdog here. Now, this close of a spread, I don't really love the Spurs. I really don't. I wish the spread was like what it was for the Bucks, who just played the Trailblazers a couple nights ago, and the spread was -5.5 for the Bucks. I was hoping the spread would be -4.5, -5.5 for the Bucks today, and I would like the Spurs. Now, they keep on trying to respect the Spurs, man. The Spurs over the last 10 games haven't looked good besides against the Pacers in Paris. That's really about the only time they've looked good over their last 10 games. Other than that, not playing great ball right now. Just not. In this spot, though, hey, Wemby has lost 2 straight games to Giannis, playing the narrative storyline here. Wemby has lost 2 straight games versus Giannis. Could you see Wemby coming out here and balling out? First game he faced versus Giannis dropped like 25+ points, hitting his points prop. Second game came out, didn't even drop 15, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't even drop 15 points. So does this game he come back, try to lead the Spurs to a win here at home? Hey, I'm kind of more like I'm buying into that a little bit. I'm not saying I like the Spurs to win, but I think Wemby could have a good game here, points scoring wise. So I lean Wemby over points. Another Spurs player that I looked at now, Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, I'm going to point those guys out. If you like them, rock with them, man. I think those guys are just very inconsistent, or at least Devin Vassell is very inconsistent shooting-wise. Sometimes he can be Kobe White. He can get up the volume 17 shots, but he'll shoot 4 for 17. I've just backed Devin Vassell, and that happens a lot when I take him sometimes. He either smacks it or he shoots terrible. So my second favorite lean in this game, that is a Spurs player, would be Chris Paul, man. Chris Paul over PRA, Chris Paul over assists is probably my favorite play in there. I see his assists at 8.5 at plus odds. I would play that. Over 7.5 at like -130, -140. If you want to lay the juice, rock with it. But at home here, I like the spot for him off a loss to have a decent game here. He always hits his assists versus Giannis and versus Damian Lillard when he faces off against them. So even as PRA, I lean Chris Paul over, but the same thing, man. Chris Paul, even though I kind of like the spot a decent amount, and I think it's a good time to buy on him, he could go out there and get up 4 shots tonight. 1 for 4, score 4 points. Your PRA is shot. It's shot from right there. So for me, I am staying away from him. But if you really like Chris Paul, if this was Chris Paul 4 years ago, I'd say, hey, I'm taking him. But this last 2-3 years, don't love it, man. Don't love it. I think that Spurs team has a lot of hands to feed, a lot of mouths to feed. Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, Wembanyama, Sohan, hell, Keldon Johnson off the bench. They got so many guys, man. So pick and choose who you like there. You obviously know Wembanyama is going to get up the volume. And so if you're liking Wembanyama today, I do think he has a solid game. Now, looking at some Bucks players here, the main guys I'm going to point out that aren't big names here. Brook Lopez, he could have a game here. Brook Lopez got up 5+ 3-point attempts in the 2 games versus Wembanyama. If you think he hits a couple threes today, Brook Lopez for points, not a bad look there, but not enough, not very confident in it to want to really take it. Damian Lillard, he's been balling. Now, if you're looking over his last 10 games, he's been hitting this points prop. If you look over the whole season, he's really not hitting this points prop. But against the Spurs here, against Chris Paul, he's had some decent games, man. Had some really solid games. So if you're liking him, rock with him. Giannis, I think his lines are very, very high. Now, he's been balling. Same thing with Giannis, man. Last 10 games, you can't sit here and tell me, hey, he's been having bad games, man. He's been balling. My favorite play, though, for Giannis would probably be assists. But he's had monster scoring games versus Wembanyama. He's had monster rebounding games versus Wembanyama. And he's also had 7+ assists in the 2 games versus Wembanyama. So I think I'd rock with this assist at 5.5. You can still get it at a decent line. You're not having to pay like 13 his rebound line's so high, his point prop's so high. You all know if he has a little bit of a down game in that category, your PRA shot, or if you say he just misses his free throws today, it's going to be hard for him to get up to 32 points, 33 points. So in there, lean Giannis. That's probably my favorite lean for the Bucks there, but kind of like more Spurs props there. Spread total, lean the over, just lean the over because I think Wembanyama and Giannis are going to have good games. But other than that, man, I think it's more of a player prop game. Another game that I think is a player prop game. Second to last game here, Celtics at the Pelicans. I do have my second best bet in this game. Now, a couple players I do really like in this game. Jason Tatum. I think it's a good time to buy low on him at 24, 25 and a half points. I think it's a great spot to buy low on him, man, because I think he's had some really, really bad games. If you just, as a Celtics fan, I'm just like, hey, he's not going to continue to score 18, 16 points. It's just rare that he just does that consistently. He's been shooting garbage, man. 33%, 36%, 36%, 42, 41, 45, 33, 58. Hey, good game. 33. I mean, out of his last 9 games, he shot 35% or worse in almost every one of them, besides like 1 or 2. So, against the Pelicans, I love the spot, though. Pelicans' defense is terrible, man. Bottom 10 in almost every category that you can think of. Defensive efficiency, points in the paint, just everything, man. They are terrible on the defensive end. And if you're looking at the Pelicans games, allowed 137 points, 113, 123, 139, 119, 123, 116. They're allowing a lot of points. So Tatum, I think it's a great spot to buy low on him. Jaylen Brown, you could buy low. You could get his points today if you really like it. He has had some monster rebounding games, monster assist games versus the Pelicans. So if you like Jaylen Brown RA or PRA today, you think he scores, off past game logs versus Pelicans, he's had some very good games, just pointing him out. I'm not on him today, but I do like his spot. Any other Celtics guys? Porzingis not huge on today, even though Pelicans defense, I mean, they could allow Peyton Pritchard to drop 20 points today, you feel me? But second best bet here. I'm not going to waste any more time, and I'm not going to really talk many about Pelicans props here because I didn't really look much out of them. I like a lot more Celtics props in this game. But Drew Holiday today. Drew Holiday over 9.5 points. Now, I know you're going to see I'm kind of laying a little bit more juice at minus 125. If this prop gets bumped up to 10.5 at plus odds, I love it just as much, man. I do. This is his old team. Pelicans, old team. He used to play for the Pelicans. He's hit this 2 of 3 versus the Pelicans since joining the Celtics. Hey, like I said, Pelicans bottom 10 in almost every defensive category. They are not very good. But on the road this year, when Drew Holiday is on the road and facing a bottom 15 defense in defensive rating, he's hit this 9 of 13 games this year. Don't worry about a blowout. Even if you think Celtics blow them out, which I don't. Celtics off a win, you can't trust them to beat any team by more than 10 points. Off a loss, you can. But they just won their last game. That probably means this game's going to be halfway close. And even if it is a blowout, don't sweat it. Because in road wins of 10 plus points, he's hit this 10 of 12. In road wins of 15 plus, he's hit this 6 of 8. So I'm not worried about a blowout. I have taken Drew Holiday once or twice this year, and he's cashed for me each time. So Drew Holiday over 9.5 points. If it goes up to 10.5, I would still play it. Look for some plus odds there. You could even maybe ladder it up to 12, 15 points for good plus odds and feel okay about it, man. But I like Drew Holiday there. That's the second best bet. Last game on the board, Phoenix Suns versus the Golden State Warriors. Hey, a lot of narratives going around in this game. KD versus Golden State, Steph versus KD. You all know the narratives with this game. Now, there are a lot of good props in this game, in my opinion. A lot of good props. Now, Steph Curry, can you trust his points? I don't know, but I think his RA is a solid look today versus the Suns, especially his rebounds. He gets a lot of rebounds versus Kevin Durant when he faces off versus him. So if you're buying low on Steph, if you're looking at Steph's rebounds last 4 or 5 games, not very good. Not very good. Not really hitting this prop of 4.5. But against KD, he gets like 6, 7 plus boards every time versus when he faces off versus Kevin Durant. Now, I do got to point out another thing with Steph, if you're liking his rebounds here. Just be careful, because when Steph is in the lineup with Dennis Schroeder and Gary Payton, like I said, he's only hit that rebound line of 4.5, 1 of 11 games. So he has went under 10 of 11. Now, good spot versus KD, but with those guys in the lineup, he's had 3 or less rebounds. So he's landed on 3 or less in 8 of 11, 9 of 11. So, man, he's not even coming close to sniffing that line. So if you're liking Steph based off the matchup versus the Suns, I would just be a little hesitant and let you guys know, hey, with Dennis Schroeder and what's-his-face in the lineup, and that's not even adding Brandon Podzinski in there as well. It's more like Steph is playing that traditional point guard role, but we all know he's not probably going to be guarding Devin Booker, man. So he's going to be off the ball. He could get a chance for some rebounds here, but for me, once I noticed that, I was like, hey, that scares me away from it, man, with those guys in the lineup. But Devin Booker, KD, 20-plus points each today. Easy. I lean the Suns here. With how the Warriors are playing, with how Steph is playing, I can't back the Warriors, man. Warriors now, hey, they did come back and beat that Thunder team. Big emotional comeback victory there. Nah, I lean the Suns, and you know how much I despise the Suns. But these two teams, man, can you back either of them? It is a coin flip here at -1 here for the Suns. It could be -1 for the Warriors by game time. I Neither one of these teams are playing good ball right now, but I gotta back the scoring for the Suns with KD and Devin Booker, and that's kind of where I'm at with it. But definitely not my favorite game, man. Definitely not my favorite game. I think there's a lot of once I found out that Steph, that spot for his rebounds assists wasn't the greatest as much as it looked like. Once you add Dennis Schroeder and Gary Payton in that lineup, it gets scary. But I do like KD, Devin Booker for 20 plus points each. If you want to have KD, Devin Booker 20 plus points each, and you think Tatum scores 20 points today, hey, there you go. 3 guys that score 20. If you like taking little same game parlays or little props like that on alt lines. But hey, man, that is the game. That is the video today. That is the video today. 7 games, 2 best bets. I have a couple more in VIP. Nothing crazy today. But as always, man, VIP gets the plays early. If you guys want to get the plays, hey, go rock with them. Go rock with them. Don't forget to use code Mobley today, and you will get 50% off. Use code Mobley. You'll get 50% off the VIP packages, any single package you guys want. And it's mainly you guys get the plays early. You guys get all my analysis with every single play, and you get everything early, man, to where you can beat some line movement. Because yesterday, Evan Mobley's lines moved a lot by the time about an hour after my video posted. So get the lines early, jump in there, get active, drop a like on the video, guys. I greatly appreciate it, man. It helps me in the algorithm a lot. If you drop a comment on the video, let me know if you've been tailing. Let me know if you like any of the plays, the 2 plays that I'm on today, or let me know if you really like a team to win today. Let me know in the comments, man. I greatly appreciate any interaction. Let's get active today, man. Let's have a day. Let's keep running it up, man. We've been crushing this NBA season, and let's go.